Sheboygan's Rock Station 106.5, The Buzz. On the phone this afternoon, we got Jeremy from Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday. How you doing, man?
Great, thanks for having me.
Yeah, all right. So Flat Out Friday coming up this Friday for the Fiserv Forum. For those who have never been, explain a little bit what is going to be going on.
Okay, well, Mama Tried Flat Out Friday is a weekend, dare I say, almost bordering on a week now of events. So my race, Flat Out Friday, is at the Fiserv Forum. We spray Coke syrup down on the concrete there underneath the hockey rink, underneath where the Bucks play. And we have 15 or so classes of racing with 350 motorcycles from around the United States. We have riders from all around the United States, all ages, all walks of life will be participating.
So now, how does one go about practicing for, like, it's a very unique surface, isn't it?
It's not that. It sounds unique, but it has a history. It's really expensive to bring dirt into the Fiserv, particularly in February. So I did some research, and this was fairly popular in the 70s, 80s, 90s, where people were doing Coke syrup races around the country to just kind of quell any need they had to race a motorcycle around the United States.
All right. Well, and, bringing it indoors this time of year is, it's practical for Milwaukee.
For sure. For sure.
So what's all going to be running on Friday night?
Okay, all right. So I guess our premier class, or the class that I'm the most excited about, are the hooligans. So these are street legal twin motorcycles, mostly Harley Davidsons. And somewhere along the line in the last few years, last 10 years, I suppose, by now, people figured out they could buy a Sportster for relatively cheap, take the lights off, and they could start racing. So our hooligan class is probably the biggest. I got a pro class. So these are racers that are coming from around the United States that'll be doing 7-second laps. Our pro race is 35 laps. The leader of every lap gets $100. And then we've got kids. Starting at 3 years old, right, racing Stasics. If you know the Stasics, those electric motorcycles, electric Harleys, if you will.
Yeah.
You have women's classes, and I have 60 mini bikes that signed up this year.
Always love the mini bikes, especially the vintage ones, just because you don't see them as much in the wild, as it were, anymore. But those are just so cool.
Sure. Yeah, mini bike racing has really taken off. I don't quite know why. Maybe just because it's so accessible. But yeah, boonie bikes, as we call them here in Milwaukee, or mini bikes, I see them everywhere. They're really popular down here.
All right. So what's the schedule look like for Friday?
Okay. Well, if you're racing, by the way, so just to give you some perspective, racers got to be there at 9 a.m. for practice at noon. They'll be practicing and having heat races all day. As a ticket buyer, the doors open at 6. Racing starts at 7, and I want to end the show right at 10 if possible.
Now, if people want to race, can they still get in?
Well, that'd be an extreme outlier, but I could make it happen if you really had a hanker, and I could try to make some room for you. I got a couple spots. 344 is what we're at. 350 is what I got room for.
All right.
344 is what we're at. 350 is what I got room for.
All right.
For sure.
Now, and then we got the big bike show coming up at the Rave this weekend. Talk about Mama Tried a little bit for those who have not been.
Sure. So Scott and Warren, my partners, curate the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show, so they create hand-built, choppers, custom motorcycles from around the world, and they're shipped to Milwaukee, and they're treated like pieces of art. They get the white glove treatment. It isn't a ride-in show. These are invited guests, invited builders from around the United States, that ship their bikes here. It's very prestigious to show your motorcycle in this event.
What's some of the highlights that are coming this year?
Oh man, you ask me this every year, and I'm always in the dark. I got my nose to the grindstone about this racing. But we have strong connections in Japan, Brazil, Indonesia. There should be some stuff from that always excites me. Scott and Warren, or Scott particularly, my partner, comes from the metric world, so it's not all Harleys by any stretch. There's a lot of great metric choppers, a lot of English choppers. But the motorcycles are important, and it is what we do, but you got to feel the energy, the frequency of the room. There's just a magic that happens when you're inside the rave, inside that ballroom, with the motorcycles beautifully displayed on the floor. It creates an energy.
And now the one that always scares the wives whose husbands are going to be there. What's coming for vendors?
Well, the vendors, just like the motorcycles, are curated. So Scott and Warren don't pick the vendors for their show to be anything else that you would see at any other shows. So I don't think they're going to be custom, factory add-on parts or things like that. They're going to probably be homemade things. I think most of our vendor space is actually goes to the tattooist, just to highlight the energy that people are trying to capture. So if the wives are okay with new tattoos, I think that's all they have to really worry about.
Well, now you just had to say it with me. Honey, at that price, I'd have been stupid not to buy it. Exactly. All right. If people want to find out more, where do they go to?
Well, MamaTriedShow.com, FlatOutFriday.com, and our Instagram, our Instagram handles are hot right now. I explained to you right away that this is not only a weekend. we're starting events tomorrow. We have the world's largest indoor motorcycle flat track race on Friday, but tomorrow at the Cooperage, we've got the world's smallest. So we're doing a mini bike race inside a bar tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Which bar is that again?
Yeah. So Boone and Crockett is the bar here in Milwaukee, and they have a side space called the Cooperage. So Boone and Crockett is the bar. If you look that up, you can come to the motorcycle race tomorrow.
Wow. All right. So racing tomorrow, racing Friday, and there's events all week long, I'm sure, and mamatrideshow.com would be where to go.
Yes, yes.
All right. Jeremy, it is great having you on every year, and we look forward to Flat Out Friday.
Hey, Otto, I just want to say I was just up there coastering and flying your town, and I had a wonderful town. I went to 35 Sheboygan bars, and everyone met me with open arms. It was great to be in the town of Sheboygan.
Well, when you're at the bar, things tend to be a little happier. That's just saying.
Thank you.
All right. One more time, mamatrideshow.com.
mamatrideshow.com and flatOutFriday.com. Yes, thank you very much.
And tickets still available. All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thank you.
And there you go, Jeremy from the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show and Flat Out Friday coming this weekend. Details, of course, 1065thebuzz.com.